Have you heard about what's going on at the Hot and Crusty? Employees were really inspired with what was happening with Occupy, and they started talking to people at the Immigrants Worker Justice Working Group, and they started making plans to occupy their workplace. And most of them were undocumented illegal immigrants. And so they were really scared of the possible legal repercussions, and eventually they decided, well, they were able to walk out of there and march with us on May Day and submit petitions for better working conditions and better wages and asking that their union be recognized. And the owner of the Hot and Crusty decided that he wasn't going to recognize their union, and instead he was going to close up the business. So he just sort of stopped paying his rent and he declared bankruptcy. So the last day of that business, that was when it was going to be open, other people from Occupy, I was there, we occupied the Hot and Crusty and demanded that they keep their job and that the business be reopened, and some people were arrested and they were picketing for a couple of days. We put all sorts of banners on outside. We came in and moved all the tables and set up a circle of chairs and signs inside, and people were behind the counter writing press releases on top of the ice cream machine, and we were going to have an assembly. And we were sitting down with the employees and going to have a little discussion with the workers, and an undercover cop showed up and folded the whole thing and arrested some of the main organizers for taking over the security cameras. And then of course, when the police showed up and the workers got a lot more nervous, because the agreement had been, the workers had been driving the actions and the decisions over the strategy and the process of the whole thing. But the workers, when it comes to confrontation with the police and anything that has any, risk of ending in arrest, they've stepped back from that, which is one of the ways that Occupy has been able to support them, because if there's one thing we're really good at, is that there's always volunteers to get arrested for actions like that within Occupy anytime they need backup. Well, yesterday it was announced that they reached a new agreement with the new owner that decided to recognize the union. They are kind of taking steps on a collective agreement, and they have control over the employees that they are hiring. It's still a process, but apparently they've gotten their jobs back, which is huge. I always say that as bad as it gets, as frustrating as things get at times, it's still better than August of last year. I mean, I really thought I'd missed my boat, I thought that the time for youth mobilizing politically was my parents' time, and thought that my generation was never going to be that way. And I thought, that my generation didn't give a shit and was not political and was never going to get its shit together and, hit the streets, and, that I was going to live romanticizing the 70s or something. And I think that just proving that it can happen and that we can make it happen at any moment for any reason, and not just for Occupy, and to know that we are out there and meeting each other and acquiring the skills together and learning the language of General Assembly and the different types of activism, that's forever ingrained.